Welcome to Village View. I'm Kyle Smith along with Marquise Antonio. Marquise, first of all, looking suave with this sport coat. Where'd you get it?
I got this from Macy's.
What's up, Macy's? You can't go to Macy's, man. They bought out Marshall Fields. You go to New York. You're not a true Chicago. Get out of here. I'm just kidding, of course. Marquise is from Oak Park, but he also travels through Villa Park for his job for Metra. We're going to get to that in a little bit.
Right.
And even later, we're going to talk about this awesome book that he wrote called La Cucaracha. Awesome book. We're going to get to that a little bit later. But first of all, I want to talk to your job and how it relates to Villa Park. You've got your bachelor's degree.
Right.
And unlike most college kids of getting their graduate degree or even going to Europe and backpacking, being cool, living a little bit into their 20s, you decided to go to Coyne College. Why did you decide that, and what is it about Coyne College that is very important for electrical engineers?
Well, Coyne College, Coyne College concentrates on your craft. They don't deviate from it. They constantly concentrate, and the concentration is on the craft itself. And Coyne is very well known for the concentration, because I didn't want to go all out the box and start studying all these other different things that I didn't need to perfect my craft. And Coyne offered that to me directly. Ohm's law was one of the things that I had to learn to become an engineer for Metra. So Coyne was the best place for me.
You were telling me before the show, Village View, about how important Ohm's law is to your job, which is currently a signal engineer. How has Ohm's law really helped you throughout your career?
Ohm's law is the formula for calculating electrical, whether it's the current, voltage, or amperage. Every electrician that works on electrical has to know Ohm's law. Without it, you're doomed. And it's a very, very complex formula, Ohm's law. And if you don't know it, you cannot be an electrician.
So let's talk a little bit about Coyne College, what it's like there. Now, you were telling me once again before the show how it's not like getting your bachelor's. If you don't really want to be certified at Coyne College, don't go there. What is it like, especially studying for your test, and how the classwork, even though it was really hard, also helped you throughout your career?
Yeah. Well, it's very intense at Coyne College. You have to get in the books. There is no excuses. Your tests every week on what you're learning, and it's either a 85 or better percentage on these tests. And Coyne, you will be kicked out if you do not do well.
Wow.
There is no exceptions. There is no, oh, I didn't get any sleep. I had other things to do. Coyne really concentrate on it because they really focus on the individual itself, and they want you to be successful. When you are applying for these jobs, you put Coyne University on your application, you're most likely to get that call, because the individual who hiring you knows of Coyne College and knows how strategically they concentrate on the craft that you're learning and not everything else.
Now, to be frank, Coyne College is a 2-year program, correct?
Correct.
But it's not necessarily equal to like a college at DePage or Moraine Valley Community College. How are those two how is a community college kind of similar to Coyne, and how does Coyne really separate itself from other 2-year colleges?
Well, like I said earlier, we don't concentrate, let's say if you need a English or biology.
No more prerequisites.
No more prerequisites.
You want to be a signal engineer,
you want to be a
better
signal
know.
engineer. It's right, it's in depth, it's in deep. That's what you're going to learn. And that's what separates them from other colleges. And that's why a lot of folks in my field attend Coyne College.
So after Coyne College, you're like, all right, now I got to work.
Right, right. Correct.
You're not, although you really wanted to, win the lottery, the chances are slim to none. So you decided to get a job, and you looked at an open position at Metra. What was that position, and what was it about Metra as a company as a whole that really intrigued you to apply to them?
Well, Metra Rail is one of the most, well, they're the highest paid.
It's all about that cash money, boss.
Absolutely. they are the highest paid railroad companies out there. I applied for B&B engineering at the first because the signal engineer was not open. That position wasn't open.
Not yet, no.
Not yet. But I knew eventually it will open. So I had to come through the back door to become an engineer, electrical engineer for Metra. So what happened, I applied for B&B, got in through that door, learned what took what I got out of B&B, and then as soon as the signalman's job came up, I applied for it and got it right away. Coin College helped me get through that door.
Well, I'm glad that you decided to go to Coin College, and it's really helping you.
Me too.
And just so people don't know, B&B, what does that stand for?
B&B stands for Building and Bridge. Mostly that position, we maintain the stations, whether it's plumbing, tile, window repairing. In some cases, we deal with the covers, the water running over some of the metro train stations that have water coming over, and we also maintain that. It's a lot of mostly you can say it's most of the carpentry work of Metra.
So you work at Metra and you're a signal engineer. Talk to us what's that like, and as your job as a signal engineer, how that applies to passing through the train station at Villa Park.
Yeah. Well, in the signal department, we are responsible for the electric current that comes to the track itself. As you go past, if you're going in Villa Park and you come through the crossing, that arm that lets down, we are responsible for that arm coming down to give you time to stop your car before you cross that crossing before that train comes.
Very important.
Oh yes. So that has to have electrical current that de-energizes itself. When it lets down, it de-energizes itself. Okay. People think that sometime when it's energized, it's letting it down. No, when it's de-energized, it's actually letting the arm down. When it's energized, it brings it up. That has to have electrical currents coming through it. That's where my job comes in, to make sure that crossing is working properly. And not only that, when the train is coming by, especially in Villa Park, the tracks feels the shunt of the train itself. That activates the crossing. So the shunt, when the train is filled that weight and the electrical current, with its AC and DC, it then activates the signal to come down. So you get time, and you must stop your car, of course.
Please do.
When that crossing let down, you have to stop the car. 90% of the people think they can beat this crossing and beat the train. I'm here to tell you, you cannot beat the train, you cannot beat the Metra, so don't try it. But that's how it works, because of the shunt and the electrical brings it down.
We all love the slogan, Metra, the way to really fly, but there's a reason it's called the way to really fly. That thing's coming.
Yes.
And that's another very important question I want to ask you. It's about train safety, and we're gonna go over a couple situations, but the most important one, your car runs out of gas. You can't start the car right on the train tracks. What do you do? And tell me some myths about when your car stops on the train track. Some people think that, okay, my car stopped, all right, I'm going to call AAA, or okay, my car stopped on the tracks, I'm just going to walk away 20 yards and I'm going to be okay. Tell us exactly what to do in Villa Park or anywhere if your car gets stuck on the tracks.
Well, excuse me, if your car gets stuck on the track, if the train is not coming, if you have no way to get this car out off the track, we want you to get out of the car. Get out of the car. That's the first thing you should do. Get out of the car. Hopefully you can, if you get out the car, we have a clerk there if he or she is on duty. Get to that clerk, but first make sure that anyone that's around that car, make sure you let them know that, hey, listen, my car is stuck. Be careful if the train comes, because if the train hits that car, it's going to knock that car right off the track. The velocity of the train is no joke. So we would like for you to, let the clerk know. Maybe she can call the dispatcher or the engineer and let them know that there's a car on this track, and they may be able to stop it. But if he doesn't get the call, one thing that people don't understand, the train is very hard to stop. You cannot stop the train on a dime. It's not like a car. It takes a while for that train to stop. And he doesn't have enough time. He can't stop the train. So if your car is going to stop on the tracks, get out of the car, warn the people that's in that area or on that train station. Let them know what's going on, because if you hit it, the car, it'll knock it right off. It can go into a building, it can go into another person. That's how strong the train is. So we will want you to get out the car and possibly let the clerk know what's going on. And maybe she can call the engineer on that train to get that, to stop that train before it hits that car.
How far can the car go if it's hit by that train?
I'm gonna say that if it hit it at, let's say, at 35 miles an hour, it would knock that car about 20 feet.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
So you gotta go. And first things first, when that car's on the tracks, get out of the car.
Get out of the car. If it's on the tracks, do not sit there and wait and make your phone calls.
Don't even try to
Get
push
out
the
of the car. Don't try to push it. Get out of the car. Let the people around you know that what's going on, and possibly get to the clerk and ask her, can you call for help? And she can possibly call the engineer to try to stop that train.
Another safety question I want to ask you: why do we have that yellow box? And how important is it for you to stay behind it?
It is very important you to stay behind the yellow box. That is your precautionary line. All right, that yellow means caution. Okay, let's say if you're waiting on the train is coming, it's in the morning. You know, we try to. That's why it's highlighted that deep yellow, that construction yellow, because we want people to stand behind that yellow marking, because that's your safety zone. Okay, don't cross it. If the train is coming, that's your safety zone. Don't stand in the middle of it. Don't touch the edge of it. Stand as far. We want you to stand farther than that. But that's the minimum. That's the minimum. That's your protection. So,
you know, it's not a recommendation. It's a requirement. Stay behind the yellow.
Stay behind the yellow sign. That's your precautionary line.
Listen to Marquise here. Stay behind the yellow line. If your car gets stuck on the tracks, leave the vehicle. And this is very important stuff, because nobody wants to see a train accident. And unfortunately, they happen, and they shouldn't happen.
Yes, correct.
And so, but something from a lot more serious and sometimes tragic to something nice. You were telling me before the show about the Villa Park train station. How does that compare to other train stations, and what do you like best about the Villa Park train stop?
Well, most of the guys that work with us, we enjoy working at the Villa Park train station because, for one, we like the landscaping. For us, first of all, the area has kind of got that vintage feel. And for one thing, it's always clean. We know when we go to Villa Park, it's going to be always clean because we maintain it properly. Versus, we got to work somewhere else. It's going to be a lot of work because it's always dirty at other stations. At some other stations, but Villa Park is one.
Well, it happens. You know, people get busy cleaning up. It's a hard process consistently.
Yes, it is. But Villa Park is 99% of the time it's always clean.
We're going to make it 100%. One of these days, we're going to make it 100%.
Yeah, that'd be great. But some of us, we like working there. We like going there, just checking it out. Sometimes we, well, I shouldn't say this on the air, but sometimes we sit out there. We have our lunch. We'll kind of, just park behind the building or something and have our lunch sometime. Just because of the atmosphere sometimes. So we go to Villa Park a lot. We try to maintain Villa Park as much as possible.
Well, I'm glad you say that. Of course, Villa Park, known as the Garden Village. So, 100-year anniversary just came up recently.
Oh.
Yeah. So you've had an interesting career, and we've talked about your life as an engineer, but that's just one part of it. Now let's get to the real stuff. La Cucaracha by Marquise Antonio. Great book. And when people think about this book, first of all, let's hear your voice. La Cucaracha, la cucaracha. You going to sing for us?
La Cucaracha, la 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 la.
We'll go over the lyrics after the show. But, of course, in Spanish it means the cockroach.
The cockroach, correct. Yeah.
And when we think of cockroaches, we don't think of necessarily the most appealing of insects. And, squash the bug, get that cockroach out of here. Correct. What was it about a cockroach that you wanted to write about this insect? Of course, we've seen from other famous movies, A Bug's Life, ants, bugs that people like more than ants, but, that like more than cockroaches.
Right.
But why did you want to write about a cockroach?
Well, this is a unusual story. Some people I tell the story to think I'm just a Looney Tune, but but okay, I'll take that. I was sitting at a business of mine I had, and I was sitting in a chair, and I noticed this bug, this cockroach,
Yeah.
was walking by. As I got out of my chair, he was enormously big. He was unusually big. I'm like, what is that? I stared at him for a little while, and I got out of my chair, and I was about to, do what most people do. We squash cockroaches. And I noticed as I got out of my chair, I looked at this incredible insect, and I stopped, and I didn't kill it, and I started thinking this incredible rodent, incredible creature, has a life, has a family, could have been out wandering, looking for food for the family is what they do. And I said, wow. And I know this is going to sound weird, but this creature is like we were making eye-to-eye contact almost. And he looked at me, or he or she, whatever it was, he looked at me and I looked at it, and I'm like, hey, he looked at me, hey, listen, I'm just I'm looking for food. I'm not bothering you. Why are you bothering me? It was like it was talking to me. And so I let it go.
Okay.
I didn't do anything. I let it go. And I said, wow. And I just was inspired to write about this incredible insect. I started writing, and I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. It was just like it was a calling or something. And I would have never, in a million years, want to write about a cockroach. But I don't know, something clicked in me, and I couldn't stop. I just started writing and just couldn't stop.
And very, very cool story, by the way. And of course, I've researched cockroaches a little bit. They can
Yes.
survive a
Yes.
nuclear war.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Which that might be a hint for the book. But of course, you got to read it.
You got to read the book.
Got to read the book. But I mean, obviously, you could Google that before reading the book. But
Yes.
very
Yes.
interesting insects, nonetheless. But before you even saw that cockroach, it was 2003, correct?
Yes.
2003.
Yes.
You saw Star Wars.
Oh, yes.
And it impacted you to do something else besides engineering. And what was it about Star Wars that you knew, hey, I want to be a journalist, I want to write a book, I want to do something artsy?
Mr. George Lucas is I'm a huge fan of George Lucas, and I like the creativity that he has brought to us, the world. And writing La Cucaracha, if I hadn't known what he'd done, the George Lucas mind, I probably would have thought it was very silly to write about this cockroach. But judging what he did and the characters that he had put together in that movie was incredible. It was just brilliant. So I wanted to think outside the box. So George Lucas and what he did for Star Wars, and I just blew me out of the water. I felt very comfortable with writing something like this. I mean, looking at his characters and what he'd done was pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
We're going to see that new Star Wars movie, by the way.
Yes, we are.
Right,
oh,
when
yeah.
it comes out.
Absolutely.
So you saw Star Wars before 2003, and then 2003 happened
Yes.
with the cockroach. So let's talk about the book.
Yes.
What is it about? What are the characters like? And is it similar to A Bug's Life and Ants?
It is close to and similar to A Bug's Life. I would say The Bug's Life is more closer to that. The characters all have they have their different personalities. I made sure I want to put a little bit of everything in them. I didn't want to just focus on one direct thing, so I made it where everyone can feel. It's a little character in all those creatures that we have as humans.
Okay.
So writing it, I knew what I was doing. I knew the day when I started writing this that what I want to see out of this book and what I want to implement to people who's reading. Before the editor took it, I had narrated almost the entire book.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, because I didn't want to lose the audience. I didn't want to lose the reader. I wanted him or she to stay with me to get what I needed them to get out of the book, because narrating it made me closer to the people, made me feel I was closer to them. I was there with them, explaining what you're reading versus you reading on alone. But of course, the editor took a lot of that out. But
well, making
Yes.
making sacrifices for the book. And
yes,
please tell us, what is it like from writing your book at a library on your laptop to getting it published, what is the process like?
Well, first of all, when I wrote this, I started, this is my first book. I'm a new author. I didn't want to follow a rule because I didn't want I didn't want to take away the creativity of following all the rules. I started reading, okay, here's how you should format and this and that. I wanted to get on my own, jump out there, and not lose the energy. I want to breathe on its own instead of following all the rules. I want to get outside of the box. So when I wrote it, I didn't know where I was who was going to publish it. I had no idea. Just so happened that I sent the manuscript to a company, which was Morrison Publishing Company. They fell in love with it, and they actually offered to publish it, just publish it free of no charge. So I said, I said, well, this seems like a good plan, but of course I did some things on my own.
Well, yeah, of course.
So I said, okay, well, it'd be great, and they actually did a lot of the work for me. During the process, I learned a lot about publishing, but when they published it, it was something that was such a great accomplishment when it was published, and the experience was like none other. And I'm glad I sat down and gathered all my thoughts and put this together. It was the best thing I've ever done.
And one thing I want to point out, it's not just about the book. Look at these amazing paintings.
Absolutely.
And I want to talk about Phil Chernesky. By the way,
Yes.
Phil Chernesky did these paintings. He's a fantastic painter, freelance guy. Does a lot of independent work throughout Chicagoland. Be sure to check out be sure to send him an email. He's in the process of creating a website. Email him at philchernesky@gmail.com or Google Philip Michael Art. How did you meet Philip Chernesky?
Okay. Well, I'm going to call him Phil. I hope you don't mind, Phil. I'm calling him Phil. Phil, I met, we worked at the same, we worked out the same health club together, which is LA Fitness. We worked out together. And we just started collaborating, and his energy was amazing. And he told me what he did, and he showed me some of his artwork. And I'm like, wow, this is incredible. This is incredible. And actually, before I got up to Phil, I had tried to experience, other artists as doing things for me.
And it just wasn't, you didn't feel that kind of friendship or that kind of one-on-one relationship.
They didn't have the chemistry that I needed. They didn't tap into the mind here. They didn't tap into it. And I'm like,
it's one thing to be a professional, but it's another thing to have that professional bonding, that friendship even.
Absolutely, absolutely.
With an illustrator and the writer.
Right, exactly. Phil presented this to Phil, and I just will say this. He took it and ran with it, and I mean, as you see here, this is incredible.
It is really incredible. I can't believe that he did all that in a month.
Yeah,
and he works full time in
yes,
human resources, and he did all of this, all 3 of these paintings, in a month.
Yes,
it's just fantastic. And what else can you say besides fantastic?
He's a great artist, and he is a wonderful friend. We became probably one of the guys who I'll invite to the next wedding. He is an incredible artist, and I'm looking forward to doing many other things, many other projects with Phil, Mr. Chernesky, as you call him.
CHERNESKY, Phil Chernesky @gmail.com. Are we going to invite him to see Star Wars?
100%.
But yeah, just great paintings, and it's really amazing that he was able to accomplish this in a month. So let's talk about post-book. You've written the book, but you do want it to become a film.
Yes.
What has that process been like, trying to get it from a book to the big screen?
Well, during the process, a lot of people have called me on the book. A lot of people call me on the book. And what I ran into a couple of guys. One of the guys over the phone we had a conversation, which is Mr. David Lawrence. He reached out to me. He's a big guru in Hollywood. He have done a lot of things. He runs a voice override class And actually, I'll probably be taking that class because I do want to play one of the characters.
You're gonna take that class?
Absolutely.
Are you fancy, huh? Are you fancy, huh?
Yeah. But Mr. Lawrence reached out to me. He thought what I did was incredible, gave me some pointers, and he said this class was probably really be good for you. And he said after this interview, he really would like to talk to me and see where we can go and do, with the book and possibly getting us to the big screens. Who knows?
It's really interesting. The book was written in Chicago,
Yes.
and then he found out about it. How exactly did he find out about it?
Well, it's on Amazon.
Okay, so it's on Amazon.
Right, I got it. And also, it's on what is this other site? It's called Smashwords. It's
I've not heard of that before,
yes.
actually.
They promote new screenwriters, artists, and things like that.
Authors,
They promote them. They put them out there. And it's also called Ink Tip. Ink Tip is a website where, because it's also a script, it's a place where you can put your script on their site, and they have these big gurus, Lionsgate, Disney, people looking at what's going on, what's the new hottest thing going on, and they call you up. If they like your script, they call you up, you get a call. So it's on there too. So I'm assuming that a lot of these folks I'm getting calls from are watching these websites. So.
And of course, David Lawrence, he was on the show Heroes. He is an actor and producer. Be sure to check out Heroes on Netflix. Great, great show. It was on NBC. So you've been reaching out to David Lawrence. You want to get this onto the big screen, and that's just La Cucaracha 1.
Yes.
You're thinking about a sequel, right?
I am actually. I'm probably starting the sequel soon. I'm already inundated with it, but I didn't want to get too overwhelmed with too many things at once.
Oh, understandable.
So I figured I'll focus on getting this out first, and once this gets pushed into the production area, then I'll start that sequence. The new
And I
sequel.
hope that the sequel is just as good as the original.
I think you're gonna like it.
All right. I'm going to hold you up to that, because Caddyshack 2, I ain't going to hate. I ain't going to throw some shade, but it wasn't the original Caddyshack. It wasn't the original Caddyshack.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's have some fun now. Your website, by the way, check out his website, thelegendoflacucaracha.com. It has his bio about how he decided to not squash that cockroach on that fateful day in 2003.
Yes.
So your website, you use GoDaddy.com.
Yes.
Now let's
Yes.
talk GoDaddy.com. She's made some commercials. Danica Patrick. What do you think of her commercials? What's your favorite one?
Oh wow. I really don't have a favorite.
You
one.
like them all.
I like possibly all of them. I like. I don't have a favorite.
She's a NASCAR driver. Do you watch NASCAR at all?
Not really. Not really. Not
Okay.
really. I don't watch it. Not really.
We'll watch it after the show.
Okay.
But yeah, just always good to find out about who you like on GoDaddy.com, and one of her commercials. Be sure to check out her funny commercials on YouTube. But man, it's just been so great to interview you and
Thank you.
find out you went to Coin College before you even decided to work after getting your bachelor's, and then you went to Metra, and on the side, this isn't your full-time job.
No.
To be an author. You do this on the side in addition to working a full-time engineering job
Yes.
at Metra.
Yes.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Well, in 10 years, I would. No offense to Metra. I love Metra. I love what I do, but I would like to be a full-time writer and author. I would like to do this full-time screenwriter, and I would like to, work with. I really want to work with George Lucas. That's my idol. That's who I just adore. So I really would like to work with him. Hopefully, he gets get this and say, "Hey, listen, we can do some things, Marquise. We can put something together with this." But where I see myself in 10 years, I would like to do this full time. I would like to sit where the sun comes up on the east, and I'm sitting at my bay window with my desk and my coffee and my computer and create the next big thing. And that's my goal in 10 years.
Well, Marquise, I hope you get to that goal. And once again, check out the website, thelegendoflacucaracha.com, to find out more about this awesome book. And you can buy it on Amazon. Marquise, what can I say, man? You're an awesome individual.
Thank you.
We'll work on your singing voice, though, by the way.
Okay.
Good interviewing you today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all we have for the Village View. I'm Kyle Smith, along with Mr. Suave, Marquise Antonio. Have a great day, everyone.